pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
We have an agenda. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Minutes approved. Go ahead, ma'am.
All right, so last month, we lost what I realize now, because it was confirmed with me yesterday, our fifth veteran to suicide in the Tacoma for Iowa County, which at that point in time, like I had been on the phone with the VA hospital quite a bit over the last year, trying to go ahead and come up with some idea to come in, and I realized the cavalry's not coming. So I wanted to go ahead and do an outreach of my own, which is where these come from. So these are Battle Buddy challenge points, and I'm going to be changing the design. I ordered a very little amount initially to go ahead and start off with. I don't like the poker chip look to it. I want to go ahead and change the outside to a solid so it actually looks like a coin, just in case there's any gambling addictions that I want being a trigger. So right now, currently, I have clinics that I've asked for them. I have nursing homes that I've asked for them. It's actually a very popular idea. With that being said, KCRG did come down on my off time. After I developed these, I'm like, wow, these are actually really kind of cool. So I developed coins for every single school district in Iowa County. And this is so every student will get one of these challenge coins from junior high through high school. We lost a few kids to suicide here a couple of years ago. My nonprofit had been thinking about it for a while. So we kind of just took this idea and ran with it. No county funding or any county went into that. That was all private funding. But it is going to hit the news. So I wanted you guys to be aware of that prior to people being like, why is she on the news? Because it was focused more so on the kids versus veterans. But I did talk about the Veterans Affairs stuff as well.
So it's a good idea that what you're doing with the kids and everything, I get that. But just here, the veterans that you lost, were you seeing them already?
This is why I took it really hard for the last one. I just talked to them a couple weeks before.
Okay, so I didn't know how you reached out to all the people that need to be reached out to.
Right, and that comes with outreach, genuinely speaking. So Coffee and Camaraderie is going to be one of those. I did take a few of these yesterday. We only had 2 people that showed up, but I think next month is going to be probably more well attended.
See, I think the idea, and we talked, Jenny and I did, and I was involved in some of this in my previous job, and you can put out all the flyers and posters you want, and whether people read them or they may take them, but do they read them? And this is something that's a little more simple, that good, direct and to the point, and it's something that, hey, this is interesting, at least they're gonna take a look at it, and they may have it in their pocket. And so it's, and especially with the kids, And I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a post on social media of the different coins for the schools, and they're all geared for the colors and the theme of each school, so.
Right. Every single, these coins were specific for the Veterans Affairs. The ones for Williamsburg, I mean, everything, they all have their own individual logo, and the colors are all representative of,
Do you have examples of the schools with you?
I don't have them on me,
Let me see if I can.
but I can go ahead and bring it up.
Not that it's overly important, I'm just curious.
No, they look really cool.
Because I may be with somebody or as a kid that notices some weird action as opposed to this the person that's contemplating it.
Okay, so to give you an example, here's HLV,
Oh, that is cool.
and here's North English. And even the cards are also specific for them. And it has teenage information. Am I encroaching on your personal space?
That's all right, that's the thing.
No, it's okay. And they have, like I said, the specific for teenage like suicide hotlines all on this.
Oh.
Yep, so.
I can send it to these guys too, just
Yeah,
send a picture from
That's
That's perfect.
Very nice
Yes.
job of taking the initiative.
Thank you. I always get nervous when my name's attached to anything because I don't want people thinking I'm attention seeking. So,
No, I think it's a great program.
all right. So when the next thing comes in, they'll look a little bit different. They won't look like you can take them to the casino.
Sorry, look at what?
They're gonna look a little different, so that way it doesn't look like you take them to the casino and you cash them in.
I didn't,
Just for the veterans ones?
Yeah, just for the veterans ones.
never thought about gambling addiction either, sorry.
Any other questions for me, guys?
No, I think it's a great idea. Good job. Have a great weekend.
I appreciate you guys. Go forth, enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, communications. Nothing. Perfect.
I missed my
Great.
meeting.
That was part of mine, and the other 2 parts is Dylan's coming in for, so. Other than that, I didn't have nothing.
I had another EasyCog meeting, but nothing really happened at it. Another executive council meeting. Talked about trails and stuff.
We got an ECR retreat, which is the May, but the invite was to like all the new counties in the district, so I don't know if it's something I need to go to. If we're not gonna be in that district.
Yeah,
So I'll figure that out next week and see what she says here today.
Not sure you want to go to district you're not going to be in anymore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, we're still in the district till June, end of June, so maybe that's why he invited me as well.
Okay, let's just bust down to this, some of the other stuff. Liquor licenses, quarterly transfer real basic to secondary road departments, $328,750.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Landfill commission appointment, we're working on that. We need a letter of resignation, and I talked to John looking into that. Karen. Each year probably discussing sick leave before, after holidays.
I haven't had time to look into it, to be honest.
Do you have any more of an opinion on this?
I don't think it's a bad idea.
The policy of requiring a doctor's note, that's what I think too, honestly.
You think it should?
Yeah, require a doctor's note.
That's what we have to do for our kids now, so,
Yeah,
I mean.
So you just for that time period?
Yeah.
it would require a doctor's note to take a sick day before or after the holiday to
Holiday.
receive your holiday pay.
So if you could bring that, like, let's say you're sick that morning, you could bring the note in the next week.
Right.
Yeah,
And would the same apply then, like, you can take sick time if your kid's sick too, right? So you need a doctor's note for your doctors, right?
Mhm.
Okay. That's just one of the great.
That's a good call. I guess.
Well, you have a dependent,
I was fine, my kid was sick.
a dependent parent too,
What?
if they have a dependent parent,
Right,
so anything,
because anytime you're in policy, no matter how,
they're gonna find a loophole.
how well, you're gonna miss something, that's the way you have to amend them.
No, if you start like creating a policy or changing a policy, do you like, poll like the department heads first to see, do we just do it?
I'd say we probably you could ask, but we probably should just do it, and then we'll have to revisit every year, we start having issues with it.
if you guys are okay with making a motion, I mean, I can pull up exactly what Adam gave us. Or actually, yeah, you're right. I got that.
Well, Adam's coming in today too, isn't he?
Yeah, 9:45.
Right here, it'd be option B. But maybe we should get should we get the language from Ayler's?
Yes.
So,
I would probably wait to make a motion on it.
yeah, so I
Maybe
think,
get some.
Till we have it in physical form.
yeah, so somebody, either Kevin or I can email Mike and ask for it.
You tell me.
I can email him.
Okay, so it'll be on next week's agenda again. Some of the township clerk appointment, we have nothing there, I'm assuming, unless somebody reached out. No. And at the moment, does anybody have think anything for next week? Whatever next week, Randy?
Luke, Becky, and Miranda. And then next week, we're gonna need to set the canvas for Acroot.
Make sure she's here a couple minutes early, she'll be hearing me. Probably picking up the breakfast pizza or donuts.
Yeah, hopefully.
Are you holding your breath?
Nope.
Oh, I have questions. You read an email, I sent a couple of emails about, the switches for the server.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one to make that decision. I'll leave that in your guys' court. I hate to not be proactive, but,
Since I don't have the permit, how much was that?
I think it was $4,000 a piece.
When was that?
How many do we need?
Hold.
And-
Oh, no, I'm sorry. $1,800 each, and we would need 4.
I mean, it's our technician's recommendation to do it, right? So, I mean,
Like you said, there's nothing wrong with it now. And
I sent you an email, you can follow up on it if you want.
Do they have it just like a normal practice?
I did my job.
I, 10 years.
Right.
I give the same reply you want I did last year, we're concerned about roads.
Right, I know. But instead of me just having a vote. I'll pass it on to you.
what date was that
Oh, it's
email?
okay, I'll pass. No donuts or breakfast pizza
I know.
today?
I was just concerned.
I can eat breakfast just for the great reason.
I'm broke, you know.
Too many fishing trips.
Okay, everybody says that, right, I say I'm broke.
You're gonna find it when you say it.
Thanks.
Yeah, the process.
Okay. Huh?
Sure.
Let's talk about that. Before I forget, I went down and looked at Wolfman's.
Yeah.
Are they going slow or does it just seem like me? I went down there a couple days and one guy was sitting at the escalator, wasn't moving at all. But yesterday I went down there and finally moving.
That's not our guys, so
I took a look from a distance. Is the east end filled in yet?
I don't know, I didn't go down there this week.
From the west end, you can drive, the Gator, you can drive on that bridge, you don't want to go across. You don't get to make it.
No, I saw it from the east end, last weekend and, yeah, there's a big gap.
Will the road be brought up at all or is the bridge gonna just sit that high?
Yeah, it's
The
up.
bridge sits up,
Is that,
the bridge is always so high.
but that seems, is it just that because the road's not there, it's
You don't
optical
want-
illusion?
Well, you don't want the water to go over the bridge.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, it seems way high. And
I don't know.
I
how
guess
high
it's 6 feet higher than the road.
I don't think it's gonna end up being that high. Probably no.
Well, that's, yeah, but
And we might, I forget, like, I don't know if we had to move the bridge up, you know, to get the hydraulics through it or not.
Yeah, I was back below quite a ways on the west side and it looked high from there, but maybe there's more excavating that's gotta be done.
Just let them finish, and then we'll.
that's fine.
You guys didn't take pictures?
You only do.
I didn't, they had the gate up, so I didn't wanna go up through there. Thought maybe I'd get in trouble.
I didn't go down there this week.
It looked like he's widening the creek bank and he must take that dirt and use that.
Yeah, probably gonna use some of that, I think they're gonna end up like, not having a lot of spoils, so they're, but they didn't call me to go down there to give a look at it, so I didn't go down.
They're building a house down there too, so I really didn't wanna go down through there in front of all those people.
Okay,
But they should be grading on that this week.
just anxious.
And then they started the North English project yesterday, I believe. That's the official start. We were down there for a little bit.
Are they taking more off yet? Or not yet?
Are they taking more off?
Yeah,
Yeah, they should finish up the milling today.
okay. There's still, there's a lot of patches underneath that stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's,
Is there cement underneath that somewhere?
well, that's what it's supposed to be. They were supposed to grind out.
Down to the cement.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to grind up 2 inches and then that would get them to the concrete.
I don't think it did it?
It didn't in some spots.
It's some spot.
Yeah, right now you have a very ugly,
Yeah, well, I've been out, yeah, I drove this morning. Yeah,
I know for years driving down that road, you're like,
you can see why.
well, that is the same as east of town and west of town. I don't understand why all those bumps and cracks came up through, especially in our portion. Because we did Colden Place, both directions, and those came back awful fast.
I think it wasn't really even a crack there early on. It just seemed like it just,
Well, it's because probably those cracks came up through, but then they put a seal coat down every few years and it kind of hides
that's probably it.
it. So on our portion, we had 10 of those. We're having them core it all out and put in a fresh patch. So we're getting rid of what's underneath, just to get rid of those. But again, we're doing the patch, and then we're only doing 2 inches, 2.5 inches. So, it's not gonna be a 25-year road, but it'll be better. And North English's part will crack within a couple of years, which is the way it's gonna be, but we didn't design that, so.
Well, it's kind of strange to me that they have, what, a 5-ton limit through the main drag of town, and semis are constantly going by.
Weird place?
Yeah,
They do, huh?
oh, all the time, all the time, multiple every morning. So I don't know how that's
I
enforced.
saw a 5-ton head down to the school, is it on the main strip too?
Yeah, it is on Main Strip too, yeah.
Mhm. I don't know what's the point of having that, if you're not gonna enforce it.
You know,
Who enforces that anyways?
I think the county takes care of North English.
Like, it'd be law enforcement, right?
For overweight,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would be like the motor vehicle enforcement officers.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you have a complaint, I would call the state patrol office in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, every
I mean,
day.
you could call the county, but they don't have any guys that have.
Right, they would relay it on.
Yeah, they would relay it up there because they don't have to get
why don't they turn
officers.
those that way for?
I don't know. I mean, we're talking like, even a Walmart truck the other day we just drove through.
Maybe something even to go through the city council and say, what's going on here? These people are doing this. You're gonna have, the city's gonna have to pay for the damage to the road if it's overweight, right?
I have nothing to do with the policies.
Right. Because you're talking the north-south road, right?
Mhm.
So we got a crew down there today, the county does, by the golf course, taking down the shoulder. We got a skid loader and a truck. We're gonna cut down that shoulder so that that drains off better, and then they can get their road in there nice and safety edge in. Our guys, from Stockpile Rock down at Millersburg, we did grade a little bit of the Iowa Keokuk line. It's more of a driveway, more or less, but our guys did do it and get it done. We cut brush up on LL Avenue this week.
Get any comments on that, or?
No. Well, yeah, some people were very happy.
It looks good. I went up to a buddy of mine's moving up there into his mom's house, and I drove up there, and was like, wow, it's nice and
Better, the school, yeah, we were getting complaints. No negative comments though from the residents around, yeah. Anything else, but I said I'll handle that when time comes. Then some more mowing. Our summer help is gone, but the graders are mowing their own territories now. Our guys have been doing a lot of stuff with project closeouts, signing papers left and right. We did finally get some right-of-way letters sent out. They did a bridge inspection for me. I had also attended a meeting with the DNR and some residents up on I Avenue. And we're getting the DNR to take care of some of the trees that they cut. We did get some plans submitted and cost estimates. We got new grates at the Millersburg shop, and thank Dylan for that. And road vacations, there's a dispute between some landowners, so we spent some time finding the official vacations and helping people out there.
Nothing to do with what we did last week, would it, right?
This was done in 1972 or 73. And Amana Sidewalks, I sent out asking for bids for 5 patches over the Amanas. So that'll be coming your way in a few weeks. I will not be here next week.
What's the fishing trip again?
No, I'm gonna close on a house.
Let's see.
So Matt will be here for that, and then, I told her not to come next week, but the city clerk from Parnell stopped by. And they're interested, in that sealed code of Act 52, which we talked about a few weeks ago. And I told her she should probably wait a couple weeks for when I'm here, but, they got a quote from Pelling. Their board has not, their city council has not taken any action on it yet. She's gonna come and she's gonna propose that we, the county, pay for all of it. It's $25,000. Because, her reasoning was, we also share Bowling Street on the west side of Parnell. And a few years ago, they paid $25,000 to seal coat that, give that a refresher. So she was gonna ask that we pay $25,000 for this north end. And what my thoughts were, and I shared my thoughts, and my thought was, well, you paid for bowling without our consent, and you just did it. And that was a few years ago, so my thought is, no, we will not pay for all of this. You essentially kind of went rogue and did that by yourself. But I said, I will support you in the fact that, you guys are a community, and if you guys feel that you guys want this road seal coated, and you're willing to put up your own funds to pay for half, we'll pay for our half of the road. So we'll pay $12,000.
Is it a split road or is it all
Yeah.
ours?
No, it's split.
So we own the north half, they own the south half.
That's correct.
Bowling Street, is that one that goes up by the locker and then curves?
No,
No, it's by the baseball
No,
field.
by the baseball field.
Baseball. Is that,
Just
oh,
west
is
of
that
the
paid?
school.
No, it's still coded, it's just
Seal
chipped or whatever.
Is that the east-west road by the ballpark or the north-south? Oh,
They're
so,
wanting to do the east-west one.
oh,
That's the one they want to do.
well, that's the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
I was thinking we're resealing the.
Here, let me just show you.
I think I can.
The Boland, that's already sealed, so that's over here.
Yeah.
But they want to do this.
Oh, okay.
So because they refreshed up Boland a few years ago, they want us to do all this. I said, and you guys, I said, you guys can do whatever you want, right? You're the board, you can do whatever. But I said I would be against that. But I also said, you guys feel like you're growing city down there, needs a little expansion, and you're willing to put up half, we'll be willing to put up half. And then we would make the 28E agreement that says, who's in charge of future maintenance or plowing or whatever,
And who would be?
whatever you want. I would say that they do it, but if it's seal coat,
Do they have, somebody that clears their streets or do they contract somebody to clear
The
their?
contract, I think. Did you always see that in the paper, looking for somebody?
I don't know, if we do bowling, we could do this, but.
Would you bowl them out?
I don't know,
Bowling.
whoever does bowling, I don't.
Next to that, they have whoever does bowling, should do it. Just keep it on.
And any future costs, would be split. They would supervise the construction. And they're in charge of the construction.
What would happen if they started selling lots and building houses on the other side of the street?
On the north side,
Yeah, would you still,
tax money for you.
so we still keep it at half and half?
Yes, until
Well, the road's half and half until they annex more.
they have to annex it in.
Because the city limits go to that road.
Yeah, they can annex them.
There's some new houses in there on the south side.
Right.
Yeah, and so those guys, I think that they want, see what they'll, and the
Sure,
city
yeah.
council go for it.
It'd be appealing to build on the north side if you got a paved road, you know?
Be a good deal. Don't have to pay this Parnell city taxes, which could come out to like $60 a year.
Until they get that bond passed. Oh, well. Good to be in for a district.
So anyway,
Let's go,
those are my thoughts, like you guys are the board, so.
That's good to know, that's where I ask your opinion.
I say we don't pay for all of what we split. And we
that's
let
what I
them,
would think.
and we let them be in charge of the construction. And we figure out whoever, I think if they're gonna run it with pickups and stuff, I think you want them to get the snow off. Because about time you get snow in April and we take one of our big trucks down there, yeah,
Then they're gonna be mad at us.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
because for $25,000 for that stretch, I don't feel like,
Getting very thick.
yeah.
I bet they're doing Boulder right now, I bet they
The
are.
city does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall off the top of my head. I don't think we send a truck up there, and I doubt it's a grader, so I bet they do. Because we don't send no pickups that close, we don't have a single axle up there.
Right.
So that just goes to the Madison Conway, doesn't it?
The Man's, Conroe, and the rest of the Man's, yeah.
So do we do that gravel road right now?
Yes, grader.
Because I would imagine they turn off the highway, they're gonna put their blade down when they.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if, this, whoever's doing the city drops it on the gravel road, but we're in charge of it with the blade. But that, like, I truly believe that they would want to do that with their own snow removal crew. Like, we're not putting it on them. I believe that that is the best.
Well, yeah, if they want us to do it, we'd have to say, well, we're not responsible for it. If it gets torn up, you know?
Which you would be.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions for Nick?
All right, we'll have fun with Matt next week. He will bring you some people.
Oh, it's on record
Yeah,
again.
he will.
Only if you can money.
I hope you, yeah.
Have a good weekend.
You guys do.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
Right, sure, sir.
That's good.
The board is utilizing the ambulance service to the best of our ability.
Yep. Just testing,
talk about it.
testing things out.
You can't talk about it, we can.
Hey, yeah. Yours goes with this one.
I only have
We
one
need one
sheet.
more copy.
Oh, my goodness, I didn't print front and back.
Please.
Wow.
Somebody takes a ride in your ambulance, you get a little nervous.
Yeah.
What do you guys got?
I have Nader now.
And we gotta watch this patient satisfaction rating next time.
Yeah, well,
Got in a hurry, I hit print and didn't select the front and back. Wonder why it was so thick. What did I give you?
Thank you.
All right, we're all good now. All right, we got our September report. Calls for August, we have 157, 126 of those are transports, and 31 were refusals. Pretty comparable to July. For the fiscal year, we've had 316 total responses, 246 transports, and 70 refusals. So we're averaging 158 responses a month. Number of times both ambulances were busy, last month was 27. We staffed a third unit 6 times, and a third unit went out 1 time, and we did have to request an out-of-county ambulance 1 time last month, and then transfers out of Compass versus 22. Pretty normal numbers, I guess, there. Finance-wise, for that should say. What? Should say 8/31/24. August expenses, $2,223,560 compared to a budget of $211,082. Year-to-date actual expenses, $412,617 compared to a budget of $422,365. So we're $9,747 under budget. So that might be the last time I'm under budget for a little bit because the new ambulance is gonna get delivered October 2nd or 3rd. So we try to spread that over the next 9 months. August actual revenue, $146,383. That's up quite a bit. I don't know if you remember, July was down in revenue. Year-to-date actual revenue, $199,647,000. We made up below July. Current budgeted revenue, $93,000. That number doesn't jive. The difference in year-to-date actual revenue and budgeted revenue is $13,000. That is right. I knew revenue was in budget, so 199 minus 13, so 1. Anyway, revenue is good. I did this several days ago. Your difference year-to-date actual expenses versus revenue, $212,270, $970. So we got a cost a difference in budget expenses versus revenue, $235,948. So right now we have a positive cost variance of $22,978. It's gonna be bad after the new ambulance for a while, so.
We purchased one this fiscal year, or was it, right?
Yeah.
Not last.
We didn't get one last year.
Yep.
This fiscal year, it's being delivered October 2nd or 3rd, but we ordered it.
Mm-hmm.
Or December 2022 or something.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we ordered it. So our average charge per transport, $1,159.87, versus a revenue per transport of $875.52. If you look at our actual cost per response, $1,305.75, and our cost divided by the actual transports billables, $1,677. Any questions on finance? The new ambulances with trade, it's like 266,000.
Will anyone go over here then? Is that right?
It'll go one actually. Marengo has a 2023. It's supposed to be a 2022. They have a 2023. Williamsburg have a 2024.
So what's the old one? What do we get rid of then?
We're getting rid of one of the backup ones. It's in Williamsburg today. It's a 2060.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you itching to compare the difference between the old and the new, Kevin?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how others are going. I mean, they were right at 100,000 when I started.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Some years ago. Satisfaction of 85% last month. Activities, just our regular stuff, daily stuff. Our preparedness meeting grant, we had the executive board meeting on the 27th. 24. Healthcare coalition meetings, we're moving those to quarterly. They're going to divide them up between EMS, public health, and hospital. So we only get all 3 people together quarterly. We did have EMS meeting on the 19th. Active shooter exercise planning, ongoing. That training is October 11th, or exercise is October 11th. Did some pre-training with Marengo Fire and PD and Sheriff's Office. Rescue Task Force trained on the 3rd. We're still working, reviewing our protocol updates, just, it's a long document. We want to make sure it's all right before we go and implement it. There's a lot of people looking at it, reviewing it. We completed CPR for Iowa Valley staff on the 22nd, and for the Sheriff's Office, we did some on the 12th, and we'll finish them up next week on the 24th. I got invited to participate in this Kirkwood's Paramedic Advisory Board meeting. They meet twice a year, so I said, yeah, I would go. So it was to really just talk about success rates and any changes they want to make, and they let us vote on stuff, and make recommendations.
So you've done, Waynesburg's done one, North Village just done one, active shooter,
Yeah.
and Marin will be next.
Yeah.
But HOV doesn't want to do one?
That's what, in the past they haven't, I don't know if that's changed or not.
Okay.
That would be,
Yeah, it might have changed after a little
Well, I'm hoping
incident.
so, I mean,
they would be next in line, yes.
it's just good that everybody's, has this training, for the way the world is now.
We've done, yeah. Yeah, if we added them to the rotation, we'd probably put them next, but I mean, that'd be Josh's decision, but we've done Iowa Valley High School, Williamsburg High School, Williamsburg Elementary, English Valley High School. I'm doing Iowa Valley Elementary.
So each time you guys done this, do you guys learn something new?
Yeah, well, our staff changes all the time, so, you know, they definitely learn. But yeah, you learn stuff all the time, and you work with, for us, we're working with fire, helping move people out of the building, which we don't work with. I mean, we work with them some, car accidents and stuff, but you don't work with them on a regular basis, so that's good to work with them. And, you know, you have law enforcement with, you know, guns out. We don't usually see them that way, right? They're usually helping us on medical stuff, so I think it's good practice to do. And if you don't practice it, you're not gonna.
Definitely reveals weaknesses in our communications.
Yeah, communications is always
Always a problem.
I think it's great,
Yeah, I think it's just like anything else. If you don't practice it, you're gonna forget what you did.
especially doing it at each school, because then you learn the dynamics of how everything's laid out and escape routes.
Yeah, and a lot of our staff don't live around here, so, I mean, it's good. And well, I don't necessarily know outside of Iowa Valley, but, I mean, I know a little bit. I mean, I could get to gymnasiums, places I've been, but, you know, if you don't have kids in there, you don't necessarily know. And then even here, you know, teachers change rooms, so where I thought Mrs. Smith was, might be the other side of the building, or upstairs or downstairs, you know. Yeah, I think it's good. It's good. Exercises are good to get everybody working, practicing together.
Well, it helps you change policies too, to make the whole unit better too.
You might find some equipment or something that you want to add, stuff like that. Equipment wise, mostly routine services. We did update our medical equipment bags, and the ambulances. Our other ones were probably, I'm thinking like 15 years old, because I can't remember. I mean, we've had them for a long time. We had an AC power adapter replaced on the EKG machine. That might not sound like much, but that's $1,500. That's why I put it in there, so. I'm like, oh, it sounds like a power adapter. No, it's a big power adapter.
I was gonna say, what, $20?
Yeah, yeah. Originally started at over 2,000, and I got them down to that, so. The 23 Ford, we first had new front tires and alignment put on it. A couple days later, it was responding to a call on the rear, inside rear dual, got that repaired. 2008 Ford, it had a scheduled tune-up, new exhaust manifold, brakes, transmission service. And then the new ambulance is expected delivery by October 3rd. for vehicles and personnel. We had the one full-time job opening. We've done an interview. We made a contingent offer. I think they're doing their testing next Tuesday, their physical testing. That has went good. I think we had like five applications. Drug screen, safety stuff, pretty routine, no recent injuries. I heard reported that one that happened in August, last time I was here. Next safety meeting's October, and then we have fire extinguisher testing scheduled for the 16th of October. We're gonna try using Iowa fire equipment this year instead of Sterling. We've had some issues getting fire extinguishers replaced when we've used them. So we're gonna try this different company and see how that works, so. I think I can get it done in a day and a half. The other company was here a whole week. So. There's over 200 fire extinguishers, you can believe it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything on HIPAA, anything other. I don't have anything other, unless there's anything you guys want to discuss. I think you tabled the sick leave thing, so.
We're gonna talk to our HR attorney and have him make sure to get something like that written down.
I don't have anything.
All right. Any other questions for Al?
The courthouse lawn looks a lot better.
Getting there.
Getting water, getting time to grow, or what?
You received it.
What was it?
Yeah, and water.
That is,
Okay.
Can we take a break quick?
Yep, we'll on break until May shows up.
Because somebody's from Dillon right now.
I got some information from the RGB meeting too.
Second, you ready? Chris?
Was that, oh, yes, good.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, you guys want to start on the insurance claims?
Sure.
Okay. So I went through what the adjuster gave us. Because what the adjuster gave us, it was just a location number and building number. So I went through and found out what each property was. So all the highlighted ones are all new roofs. So,
They need all the roofs?
well, that's what the insurance companies let us repair, is all new roofs. So the Ranger House at Lake Iowa, that's the one as soon as you pull in to the main entrance there to the north. Pretty much all the pavilions at Lake Iowa. My office down in Gateway.
Even the ones that have steel on
Wait, the pavilions?
them? Some of them have steel
Are you sure?
on them. Yeah. 3 of them did. 1A, 1B do.
Because I know there's what there's.
What do they call them, pavilions, I guess.
Yeah, see, that was the thing we were trying to figure out too, when we were out there looking at everything. Because if you look underneath the location 8, building 65 code, it says pavilions, and there's 6 of them.
2 of them are tin, or 3 of them are tin.
Okay,
I know for a fact.
so I wonder if these 6 are just the ones that have shingles on them. What shingles they have, because the pavilions, the roofs are in pretty rough shape out there.
Right,
So I'm surprised they even covered them to begin with.
right,
That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say.
okay.
And then my maintenance office down at Gateway, the Williamsburg salt shed.
Are these metal roofs on yours in the salt shed or?
The salt shed is shingles. My building is barn tin. And then like the transportation garage is barn tin. The garage, the conservation garage at Gateway is tin. And then the roundhouse at Lake Iowa is tin. And that's the other thing too, like, so we have barn tin on the transportation garage right now. Does that mean we have to replace it with barn tin, or can we go to a hidden fastener roof?
You can do what you want to, just, what's the cost?
Well, hidden fastener is gonna be a lot more expensive than barn tin.
Hidden fastener.
Standing seam roof,
Oh,
like what's at the county home, the jail kitchen, and the engineer's office.
we'll have to go likewise, just like style and price due to our finances.
Okay, so we don't wanna upgrade
I don't,
any roof systems, we'll have to go back to barn tin.
I think I would, just because of all the expense we're gonna have involved.
Okay,
If it works forever long, it'll work again, it's
I'd say if we upgrade, we'd have to come up with
All the extra money.
among ourselves.
yes.
Yeah,
The only thing about the barn tin roofs, is that it's the same thing like down at the health department. It's all exposed fasteners, and the only thing sealing the outside, the attic space, is a rubber washer
right.
on the screws. So that's why I brought it up. I mean, this would be the time to go to a hidden fastener, but I understand we can't do it right
You
now.
can quote it both ways and see how big the difference is.
And then like,
I was trying to warn everybody.
You still have the weird sneeze.
I forgot about that.
so like, are we interested in like some of the buildings that are shingles now? Do we want to go steel? Or do you,
Are they close in the same price when you go steel or not?
usually steel's a little bit cheaper, depending on how you do it. If you strip all the shingles and then put the 1-bys down and screw the steel down, it's gonna be more expensive than shingles. But if you just go over top the existing shingles with 1-by, steel is gonna be cheaper.
Does it matter that much in a pavilion?
See, that's what I mean, like the pavilions, I would do steel. Whereas like the garages or main buildings where we keep stuff in, that's where I do a standing seam roof.
So let's get some prices on what you think and
I talked with Carrie Kriegel. She seemed interested to give me numbers on all this, but she obviously wanted me to have all this spec'd out. So, I mean, I just can't give her this list, because some people might quote it as shingles, and some people might do barn tin, some people might do standing seam.
Right, well, just give them, just tell them this is what you're looking for.
I looked at, on Ranger House, I looked at it too.
It's in the Ranger House. I
Yeah.
believe the Ranger House is, the one by the main entrance is already tin, I believe.
They said it was ruined.
Yep, and then the other Ranger House down the road to the south, that I can't remember, but I wanna say that's tin too. But like a lot of these, like all these furnace chimney caps,
Yeah.
I mean, I can just order them from Home Supply and get on the roof and change them myself.
Okay, so I want him to come and talk about this, because I just want to keep it going, because we have like 2 years to do this,
Okay,
and we're like 6 minutes, so I just want to make sure it keeps moving.
so my next question is, do we wanna put all the new roofs under one project? Then all like this miscellaneous stuff, like these roof vents and the ridge caps and downspouts, do we include that in a different project? Or do we make the whole thing one project?
I'd break them up, I'm afraid.
I would.
Yeah, I would
I'm
too.
afraid you won't get anybody if you do it, try to do them all.
Like I'd put like all the pavilions as one project,
Okay,
or maybe all the buildings
Oh, like-
at the lake,
One project.
one project.
okay, and then like all the stuff.
I'll make a voyage out there this week and all.
I'm not trying to do, somebody want to bet them all, go for it, but I mean, I think we might break them up, we might get some smaller contractors bid on it.
I mean, cause if we put this out to bid, let's say next spring, I mean, it's gonna keep the company busy all summer.
Oh, I know.
I mean, like I said, there's like 5 or 6 buildings where the only thing we need to replace are the vent caps, which is get up on the roof, take 3 screws out, put a new one in. But, I mean, there's 5 or 6 new roofs and, I mean, flashing around the skylight, a new skylight out of Lake Iowa, so it's, I mean, I can do that. I can do it by location, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If that's what you guys want to do.
And for insurance reasons, if you do stuff, you have to keep track of your time too, right? So you can turn that in.
Yes. Yep. Do I just,
By location. One for furnace cap at Cardinal Shop 1, you can spend an hour there, whatever.
Right.
We'll figure that out. I think we have to turn that in. They need to do it.
okay. Okay. Is there anything else you want to discuss about this? Insurance claims.
Okay.
I mean, does that sound good if we put everything out to bid next spring? Or do you want to do it this fall yet?
I'd put them out next spring. I'd put them out this fall.
Well, we can get them out, yeah, for a spring to do them.
Spring, do them, but that's why people can bid on them and look at them all fall and wonder if they want to do
Problem with, if they bid them this fall, I don't think the price is gonna be good next spring.
them. Well, that's, you'll have to tell them it's for spring work. I don't know how they want to do that, but I'm afraid if you don't get your name in line now, you won't get them next year.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
you're just trying to get our name in the hat
Yeah,
for next year. Okay,
we've got these projects next spring. We want you to start next spring. I think the contractors would like to know now that they got that work possibility.
They could do a bid now and put a projected % increase, you know?
Now, they gotta be careful of that because you don't want somebody to.
because it could go down.
Right.
The price of stuff could go down, and then we're paying them this year's prices versus next year's prices, which could go down, could go up. And I know if we accept a bid and it goes up, I mean, how does that work? And they already did the work. I mean, they almost have to pay it, right?
We have to pay when they bid.
Even if the price of the material goes up?
Yeah, because they should purchase it. That's not on us.
Okay. Okay,
When you start the bidding process on this, make sure that you give them numbers,
all
like give each
bid numbers,
project a number,
Okay.
so that when we receive them, we know
What it's to.
or make sure they've sealed it
Okay.
and properly.
I think the next step would be grouping your jobs into the projects.
Okay.
And then figuring out what we want, steel or shingle.
Thanks for doing that though, because it's a son, we got to figure it out.
And
And this looks a lot better than what I was trying to look at before.
yeah, it was really, I mean, it took a lot of time just to reference the location and building number back to what the insurance company had,
I know.
so. I guess now, like you said, I'll just group everything together by location. and then I'll get numbers by location. All right, well, I can do that. Okay. You wanna talk about the wiring in the basement, or you wanna go clothing ones?
Let's do the, we have next, let's do the clothing.
Okay, so this is what I broke down. I got 5 button-down shirts for me, 2 button-down long sleeves for the winter, 5 t-shirts for Julie, and a sweatshirt for both of us. All of it's all Carhartt. We don't have to do Carhartt. We can get with whoever, whether Elite or there's a guy in Brooklyn that makes t-shirts. But this would be just for the clothes. This is not embroidery. Embroidery is not built into the cost. And I don't know how much that would be.
Embroidery or what they call it, oh, screen prints.
Screen print, yeah. And like Deegan, you said the Wool Mill does screen print.
Whatever that's called, right next to the, is that the warped and woven?
Is it by the Wool Mill? Or-
Yep,
You know that one.
it's just, right in the parking lot of the hotel as you drive down the road. And then I'm sure, you know, Elite probably does it.
Yeah.
Elite does it.
Was that Elite?
Elite does both, yeah.
Can Elite get Carhartt? The only reason I chose
I
Carhartt.
think they can.
Yeah, because I just ordered some through.
Go on their website and you can see what products they have.
Because I think I would want Carhartt because it's gonna last longer than.
I think so, yeah. Unless Elite recommends something that's just as good, but definitely don't want, nothing against some of the shirts, but you don't want like the cheap t-shirts that, and sometimes, like we said, you know, like on the t-shirt and stuff, the screen printing's better than the embroidery because your embroidery will shrink up and your t-shirt don't, and pretty soon you got it
Right,
bunched up.
okay. And like I said, this would be like if I just went to, I just got these prices off Carhartt.com. So this would be like if I went to Carhartt.com and bought the shirts, got them shipped. And then we'd have to take them somewhere to get printed. But if you want, I can call Elite, and I can call, Brooklyn, and I can call, does the Wool Mill make t-shirts or they just do screen printing?
You can ask them, I think they could probably order the product. I think keep it in the county, shouldn't we?
Yes.
So I think the only 2 that I know of is Warped and Woven and Elite, right?
What about going on the corner down here?
Is there one here?
Yeah, well, what's his name?
Marengo.
Yeah,
Schultz,
River.
Stoltz or whatever.
So if you're gonna hit all 3 of them, I would just say you want Carhartts, that way it's the.
Okay.
And then just have them bid those items, if that's okay with everybody else.
So then, we're gonna wait to make a decision until we get the prices, right?
Right.
These prices were if I were to go get them myself. and
But
take
it's
them.
just the board, okay, with what he's proposing for quantity.
Is that for both of you or?
Yeah,
And then the plan is that this isn't gonna be every year, it's just.
Right.
this
This
is
is the initial.
start.
This is gonna be the initial, and
And like I said, these would be if I were to go out and get them myself.
And I don't like your logo.
You know?
No.
I think we should just do the regular.
We have a
Iowa
county
County
logo.
logo,
You just
yeah.
want the Iowa County logo?
Yeah, sorry.
So I can.
what's the county logo, just the state of Iowa?
The one that we have on our website.
Yeah,
Supervisor.
I didn't talk about that, can I?
Oh, I see it, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I think you as a board would have to set a guideline as far as timeframe. I mean, obviously, if it's not going to be yearly, what that timeframe is going to be
Temporary color.
for.
Well, I think we wanna do like an initial setup and then set up a yearly clothing maintenance fee.
Is that something I have to put in my budget then?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Which it would be like, what would you think per person? 100 each year?
150. I mean, and that's the thing, if you get them from Elite, you just can't get 2 shirts. You know what I mean? Like, do you
Yeah,
bulk order something, and then, I mean, I don't know how that would work.
Oh, check, I guess there was that place, that's where Blake gets their stuff, was that place in Millersburg.
You have to get it, at elite, you have to do a dozen items at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, that way.
So it'd be like whatever it would cost to get
But I mean,
12 t-shirts every year.
but t-shirts and shirts and the whole thing counts as a number.
So like I could do 6 button-downs and 6 t-shirts every year,
Yeah,
and that would count as a dozen.
right.
So whatever that price would be is what I'd have to budget every year. If we get it
Well,
through,
I'm not gonna allow 12 things a year for you.
You wouldn't need that many, you just pile up. The other option would be, like you said, another option would be go to Tyson's and buy it and just set it up at a screen printing place, because they'll keep your account.
Yeah, but if they'll do less than a dozen at a time,
yeah, a lot of times you have to do,
that's, the place that I dealt with this, it's a dozen minimum.
I guess that'd be something to research then.
But I mean, maybe that place or the other place is different.
What's the name of the place in Millersburg?
You can ask like the health department where they get theirs printed at,
for sure there's a leak.
because I mean, they'd have the logo at least already digitized.
Well, they probably have more employees, so it's easier for them to get a dozen each time.
Mhm.
No offense, you're not gonna get a dozen shirts every year.
Well, that's fine.
We gotta get us prices and so you can find out about some of the employee or the.
I can cruise into, well, it better just let you do it, so you can communicate with everybody the same way. You can see if one, like these shops here will do less than 12 items. If you either buy them from them or you purchase the item, bring them in and set up a screen printing account.
Here, I'll get you a number, you can hear the other place. All ways printing LLC, 319-655-7768.
Ideally would be if you could buy your own stuff and they'd say you can just bring it down whenever, get whatever screen printed or so.
See, that'd be the best.
Yeah, because
But I do.
Because then.
You're gonna have to
when I have to
pay
make a
for-
whole,
Right.
you have to pay extra for the setup, but they're gonna have it on their software.
and then you bring a couple shirts in a year and they print it and it's done.
Right. Just tell them you're on just a 2-person department.
Right. No, I will, I'll work on that. I can do that.
Okay, and then just before we talk about this, I'm gonna give people a minimal heads up. So unbudgeted items, we got the clothing now. We've got, we'll probably have building expense and this insurance claim that we won't get all covered for us. And then there was a personal issue that I can't bring up for you. It's gonna be adding expense to your budget that I talked to you about the other day.
Mhm.
I can't talk about that. And then, so I don't, the wiring thing, I still think we should need to wait till we can actually budget for it,
Like put it in the budget for next fiscal year.
but that's only my opinion.
I mean, it's lived this long. I hate to have an issue, but it's lived this long. Fine. I think we should probably wait too.
Because we're talking, at one time, somebody was talking, I thought they did 10 or 15,000. But we don't have that much extra laying around.
So like the first step here, I talked to the person that was working on it, and he was looking at just having solutions come down to discuss a plan. So, and I think that he knows that this wouldn't be something we do this fiscal year, but I think if we have, I don't know, how much is solutions an hour?
I don't know, somebody needs to call them. I mean, it's gonna be expensive.
Well, I'd say
It's not gonna be $200.
No,
What's
it's
that?
gonna be
It's not gonna
thousands.
be $200.
it'd be more than $200 an hour. So
Especially if they need to be here for more than one day, because then you got.
he said it wouldn't be more than one day for this. This would be just coming down to discuss it, because one can't do this without the other. But
But if we're not gonna do the one, we don't need the other one yet.
no, well, you do. They have to get together to discuss the plan to move forward.
Because
Because
we're not gonna do that until next year, we don't need to do this one this year.
if you want somebody to put the plan together,
That's just, well, that's my point, I mean, my.
we're not gonna know how much it's gonna be until the two get together. So,
So you're talking for budgeting wise. Without them two getting together, we don't even know how much to budget to begin with.
no, we're not gonna know how much to budget unless we just throw a ballpark figure out there to budget, and if it isn't that much, it's not that much. And like Abby said, it's working now, but it should, the problem is so many entities have been in there that it's confusing even for the guys like these guys.
Yeah, I'd say we hold off and then we can discuss closer to the end of the year too and see where we're at and about at least getting an estimate.
Okay, so instead of just forgetting it all together, do you wanna, can we put on the agenda to next year, or do you have agendas not far out? Okay,
So I just gotta, the way I'm looking at it then is we're gonna have to budget for it out of the blue, you think? Just to make up a number.
we're gonna have to figure out how, we need to call and find out what they actually do charge per hour. We're gonna guess how many hours it's gonna take to drive here, drive back, and how many hours it's gonna be here.
Right,
It could be $1,000, it could be $3,000.
right, and that's what I fully expect for the initial meeting.
Yeah, if they're gonna be here for 2 hours, it's a whole day.
So so there's the initial meeting, you wanna just hold out to the next fiscal year,
We're gonna get,
until we budget.
according to what I understood, Abby, is closer to the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
We'll know better by then what you have.
Say by next March, right?
Yeah.
What you have in your budget, what you have in your money that we could budget for the following year to do the project.
Okay, but I'm just saying, we're not gonna know how much the whole project's gonna be until we get the initial
Right.
put together, so.
But I think we can schedule the initial get together at the end of next fiscal year and we might have some money in the budget to pay for that. You know what I mean? Versus get jumping the gun right now.
So what about the person that's put time in on this so far? Should I have him, if he's got a bill?
He's got it, he's gonna have to submit it.
Yeah, because I hate to,
Right.
No,
he's
yeah.
put some hours in already.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's not out from doing the whole project, it's more of a.
I'm not saying he's put a lot of hours in, most of his hours were put in the call into solutions and not getting a return call for 2 weeks. So. but- Okay, I'll talk to him.
Okay, any other questions for Dylan?
Nope.
Nope.
Anything for us?
No.
Congratulations again, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a good weekend.
With you.
Okay, May? We're up.
I was avoiding it. No. Pausing.
You're about done with this, isn't it, right?
That's why I was hesitating and pausing. It makes me sad to be here this morning. So, good morning.
Good one.
Good morning.
All right, well, I'm here, of course, this morning to talk about the realignment. And it looks like, Chris, you've got a map.
I do.
A map in front of you.
Yeah, I think we all.
Have you all seen this map with the populations, and does it matter to you?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
You've seen that, okay,
Mhm.
fantastic. So, you're up to speed.
You can explain the logic behind that.
That's
not
a fair question.
Sure.
That is a really good question, right?
I tried.
You know, Ryan Wood from the MHASI, the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa, and I, the day the map came out, said, why don't we just call HHS and tell them that you'll keep Des Moines and Louisa and I'll keep Benton in Iowa and see if they'll fall for that.
We're trying to put all the population in 2 districts and
Isn't it weird? Yeah, that's a little unusual, that there are 2 kind of super districts
Yeah.
and then 5 much smaller
I
districts.
just would have thought that the district we kind of used to be, and they would have broke it up differently.
My
Cedar
only,
Rapids one way, Iowa City another way, or
my only theory is that they have like the counties that are providing services more looped together and the ones that are not, that we're always relying on them. So maybe they're trying to get like the administration for, like all the ones that are providing the services under the same administration versus those of us that are not under the same administration.
That might be the most valid theory that I've heard so far. Maybe because there are 5 of Iowa's 8 metropolitan counties in District 7.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I don't know.
So, you know, when the bill passed, when the governor announced her intention and the bill passed and everything, I think we all knew that there was a chance that all 9 of our counties weren't gonna stay together. And then when the map came out, that was the heartbreak of like, oh, yep, this is now reality that all 9 of our counties aren't gonna stay together. The one thing that I really want to talk about and to stress is that this map and these lines, colors on the map, are really administrative only, right? Kind of to your point, that HHS's intention, the governor's intention, our intention, and it too, is that it doesn't matter where people live, they'll be able to get the same services. And so in HHS's transition plan, what will happen once the ASOs are named is that we will be defining standard eligibility across the state. We'll be defining standard access. We will be defining how statewide we're gonna work on workforce, and so that it's more equitable. People in Iowa County will still be able to go to services in Johnson County, right? They, honestly, people who receive services shouldn't see any negative impact of this realignment. They should only see positive. This map is the administration, right? Who's gonna be the administrative services organization or ASO who's responsible for the contracting and holding providers accountable to those contracts, doing the quality assurance, all those types of things, service development. But if we have the same access standards across the state, service development should be consistent. I want to talk a little bit about the request for proposals. It came out on September 1st. Surprise! They had said it would be September 30th. And on August 28th at our East Central Region Governing Board meeting, I so boldly said, I'm sure we're not going to see it before September 30th. They have a lot of work to do. They want to get it right. I'm sure we won't see it. 3 days later, it was out. So this, I'm pretty sure you haven't seen. So this is a 1-page summary of that RFP. Across the top, you have timelines. I've got it. So across the top are the timelines. We had to submit a letter of intent by Wednesday of this week. Wednesday of last week, HHS was accepting questions regarding the RFP. The East Central Region did submit a letter of intent to bid on September 11th last week, because there was a funny part in the RFP that said the agency would accept questions from organizations who had declared their intent to bid. But I was like, intent to bid's not due until September 18th, and the questions are due September 11th. So I was like, it's not a loophole they're gonna catch me in. And so we submitted our letter of intent to bid on September 11th and our questions. So just update there. You'll see that the proposals are due October 18th. There is a second round of questions that may be submitted. There is a bidder's presentation for those that only organizations that have submitted a letter of intent are invited to the bidders conference next Wednesday. In November, there will be bidders presentations. I can't remember exactly how it's worded in the RFP, but it does state that something that allows us to think like finalists will be invited to give a presentation in November, and then HHS says that they make their decision on December 30th.
The reason I want to talk about the RFP a little bit is for you to understand that whatever organization bids and receives the designation as ASO, that will cover Iowa County, what the expectations are, right? And the expectations are the same for all of the ASOs, but I want you to be aware of what you're looking for when partners come to you and say, you know, will you support our intention to bid? So you can ask the questions, and I don't know that that's going to happen, but it could, that someone who has an intent to bid for this district number 6 might reach out to you. So one of the,
Okay, so
yep, go ahead.
I'm feeling way behind this. Will our opinions matter?
Yeah.
They really haven't so far.
It'll be like a
That's a really great
recommendation.
question. You know, we had a subcommittee meeting the other day to talk about some issues as far as like organizational structure. And that came up, you know, it's like the state is definitely moving away from a county system. And I acknowledged my own bias that, you know, I said, other than the 10 years I worked for a school district, I've worked for county government almost all of my career. And so I know I'm biased towards counties. I'm like, my gosh, county opinions should care. I mean, it's been a county system for 29 years.
But in the last, would you say 6 years, how many changes have we had?
10 years ago, we regionalized.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
keeps,
Yeah,
in our opinion, my opinion for our county, our system wasn't broke. Right?
right. It's hard for us to hear when state officials use that word, right? Because we're like, we don't feel like we're broken. We have a lot of pride in the
We had
things that
plenty
we
of money,
do.
a system was working, I thought. Okay, sorry, I interrupted.
It's okay, it's okay. I want you to feel just knowledgeable, right, about the process. When I was here, probably in February, and I met with all of the law enforcement officers or departments in Iowa County, their big concern was the law enforcement liaison.
Mhm.
And if Iowa County didn't end up in the same district as us, if they would continue to be able to do the law enforcement liaison. Because honestly, right now, Mahassee, the region southeast of us, which essentially is kind of what you're joining, doesn't fund the law enforcement liaisons. So I wanted to tell you that in the RFP, it clearly states that there is an expectation for the co-responders. And so I need to have that conversation with your law enforcement agencies too in Iowa County, like, don't be discouraged. I think that that's in the future, because I know that's been a really successful program here. And so we want to make sure, and I know that your law enforcement agencies advocated for all regional funding of that position, and that might be future state. But it clearly is stated in the RFP that co-responder model is supported and or expected.
Well, it saves more money than it costs.
Exactly.
I mean, you're
We all
cutting out
know.
a lot of services that the need gets met before it has to go any further. So, where it's handled on scene or wherever, instead of getting put into a facility or
Jail, hospital.
jail,
Yeah.
hospital, yeah.
Exactly. So I was, the Iowa County folks, you know, when I read that in RFP, yeah, I mean, our other counties are happy too, but I knew that was a really big concern here. So it was like, oh, thank heavens for that. I want to talk a little bit about after the ASOs are named. So December 30th, HHS says that they'll name the ASOs. We'll have that period of transition from January 1st until June 30th. Well, we're already, you know, this whole year is a year of transition, but certainly for Iowa County and the transition, the disentanglement for you from us as the East Central region is important and significant, right? So whether or not the East Central region is named as the Administrative Services Organization for District 7, there is the reality in the law that we as a region cease to exist on June 30th. And so what we do to transition either to being the ASO or transitioning information and being a good collaborative partner with the newest ASO is going to be determined once the news comes out. If you remember, I'm sure you remember, a couple of years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, when HHS changed, and then the legislator changed the law that said members of the county boards of supervisors could only be 49% of the regional governing board, and we figured out a structure. And that structure left John, as your representative, off the board for the last 18 months. And our regional governing board had made that decision of 18 months to get on the election cycle of county boards of supervisors, right? So we have a transition of 3 counties will come on and 3 counties will go off January 1st. So I had this conversation with Dewey Hildebrand, who's our chair from Bremer County, because Bremer County is also not in District 7. And Dewey was like, maybe we don't even be on the board, or this is ridiculous. And I'm like, Iowa, Jones and Johnson come on January 1st. And Dewey was like, maybe we don't even do that. Why should I stay on as Bremer County? And I said, because we have a lot of decisions to make, right? We have decisions to make about office furniture, computers. We don't have a vehicle here, right? We don't have a vehicle in Wyoming County. We don't have a vehicle. All of our other counties have vehicles, and so we're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with vehicles. But we have decisions to make between January 1st and June 30th that frankly, I want an Iowa County representative at the table to make those decisions. So on January, you know, your first organizational meeting in January, if you reappoint John as a representative, or, you know, another one of you, but I really think, like, we're a region for 9 more months, 9.5 more months. And one of our priorities this year, I have to bring the priority initiatives. Our priorities are to continue to provide the services and support that we do as East Central Region with the same commitment and integrity that we always have. This is not the time. I mean, yes, I'm looking forward because I'm writing a proposal and I'm doing all of that, but we still have work to do in this region this year. And all of our priority initiatives for FY25 are centered around that. Part of it is, what do we do with employees? What do we do with the fact that there are employees that have across our region a lot of vacation time. I don't know, Iowa County, if you pay out sick time, but we are legally obligated to pay that out when the region goes away. And so publicly, I'm saying we are encouraging our employees to take their vacation time, because I'm a little bit worried, and Deb Gard, our finance coordinator, is doing this math, of how much liability that we have at the end of this fiscal year that we as the region will have to pay the counties based on that vacation time, or if you pay out sick time. And if that number is so high that we won't be able to pay for services in May and June, because we're legally obligated, right, to settle with our employees, especially in the counties who won't be joining District 7. Yes.
Would that be Belinda,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So what happens to her status?
So, great question, right? Since February, we have had a very collaborative agreement as CEOs across the state with, if we have staff who do functions for the region as a whole, that we could bring them with us when the new map comes out. If we have staff who are very geographic specific, and that geography changes for us, we kind of have to let them go. So in the situation of our coordinators of disability services, they all have a responsibility to the region. They're local in each one of their counties, but they have a responsibility to the region. I would like, if we're named the ASO, to bring them with, right? We have a young lady who's sitting behind me who I think might finally draw a hard boundary and really retire. And so I'm worried about Belinda, of course. So Belinda's role is very geographic specific. So Belinda would, based on the wishes of the ASO, who is named to District 6, then have responsibilities with that ASO.
I'm not probably catching everything quite right.
I know. Well, I have to be real careful because I don't know, right? I can't make promises. And
They
so,
would no longer be a government employee
um,
with an AS,
Also a super, super good question. Eligible entities to be the ASOs are number one, the mental health regions that were in effect at June 30th of this year. Number two, nonprofit agencies. So it depends on who is selected as the ASO for District 6.
Okay.
If it is a mental health region who operates as a 2080, she would still be a government employee. If it is a nonprofit who operates as a nonprofit, then she could be the employee of that nonprofit.
The presumption is that that position is gonna be needed in the new district.
The presumption is that.
The presumption, it's not a guarantee, but the
But you
presumption is.
I have to throw this in there, excuse me. You're also gonna have to deal with GA, because I will be slowly fading into the sunset, but you're gonna have to decide. And I'd be happy to talk to you about that, if that's gonna be an issue that will have to be addressed.
And the other thing is, and this is up to you, and it's a conversation between you all and Belinda, and with Marilyn's assistance, of course. Maybe you want Belinda to stay Iowa County employee and not go work for the ASO and do GA or do whatever other duties that maybe you have for her here. That will be your decision.
They probably can't even really have that discussion until after it's decided,
So after what's
right?
decided.
Who the
ASO.
ASO is.
You can probably have the discussion, but you can't make any decision.
We're still in a
Yeah.
different district,
Right,
you know?
so.
Yeah, we'll have to have that discussion.
So, yeah, I guess the question I got is, how many bidders do you think there will be per district? I mean, do you know how many are, you're bidding in your district? Now, it's like competition. Do you know, is there people that you assume, you don't have to say names?
Well, John, yesterday, an email came out that is not confirmed, that I presume was to all of the agencies who submitted a letter of intent. There were 11 people on that list.
For District 7,
No, there were 11 people on that list statewide,
statewide.
okay? Two of the people who were on the list, their organizations could be construed to perhaps have a statewide vision. They were all Iowans though. There's not like somebody national coming from out of state. Everything was pretty local.
I was just wondering, I just didn't know.
There was one name on that list that will be very specific to District 6. And then there are two of them that could, I don't know. You know, when we submitted letters of intent to bid, we had to indicate what district we intended to bid on, but I don't know that that information is public. And so I don't know those two organizations that are a little bit more statewide, if they submitted for District 6 or not. There might not be any competition.
So an organization could possibly bid for 2 or 3 districts.
Yes, there will be one ASO per district, but an ASO could be the ASO for more than one. And I've had some people ask me, you know, as I'm making these rounds in all of District 7 and in our current counties, are there, or would there be districts that nobody would bid for? Some people were worried about that. And I confidently said 2 weeks ago, no, there will be a bidder for every district, and yesterday that was confirmed. There's at least a bidder for every district.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was thinking that same thing as well.
Okay, what other questions? How can I help?
we're pretty much at the mercy of what's coming down the pipe, right?
Oh, we all do. I feel that way too right now.
Well, I think some things are actually coming together compared to what it was before, but is it the way we want to go? We don't really know yet. As long as it benefits the people that need the need, that's the good thing.
Yeah, yep. And you know, like I said, the map, that's administrative really only. And for the people, I believe in the vision that HHS has set. I am, you know, I told you this last time I was here, so happy that they included co-occurring because we've been advocating for that. And if we truly can dissolve the boundaries as far as access for people and the People from Iowa County can go to whatever county they want and get the same services as that they have been getting, or more services, great. I mean, that is what we want.
Okay. Any questions?
And no, I mean, we also have in our priority initiatives this year, I mean, just the intention that we will be a good partner, right? So whatever ASO is assigned to District 6, I will be the most collaborative partner and say, this is what we've done, this is what they need, you know, because people will come in and maybe who may not know the needs. So I'm committed to that. We are for all of our counties.
We appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad you came in because, to be honest, right before the meeting, we were talking, I said, I got the meeting coming up next week, the retreat, and I said, I don't know if I should even go because we're not gonna be part of that district, and they're inviting the people for the new district. But listening to you here with the transition thing,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, probably have to be there to transition, and
Yeah.
so.
yeah, and when we're talking about the transition and communication, the retreat is not so much to really talk about our proposal, because there is a clause in the RFP that says we may not share information that's in our proposal with any other bidder before we submit our proposal or after we submit our proposal until the contract is awarded. I quite literally now have a gag order about what we're gonna put in our proposal, which is why I'm being really careful with everything I say.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I will be asking the Regional Governing Board next week to authorize me to submit the proposal with review by the chair and vice chair, which our attorney tells me is allowable in law. Because we cannot share with any competition, either directly or indirectly. And if anyone is competition, they can pop onto our Zoom meeting.
If they're an advantage.
Yeah. So the retreat will also be like, you know, how do we build partnerships and how do we leverage current partnerships and what's the communication look like? A lot.
Yeah, it'll be a busy few months.
Well, thanks for coming up.
Yeah,
Good seeing you, and I'll see you next week, probably.
sounds good. Thanks for being here and for all your support, and I'll be back before the end of the year, for sure.
Marilyn, you look like you're ready to get out of here.
I'm just trying to keep my mouth shut.
Richard must be cooking her a good lunch.
All right, thank you all.
See you.
Thank you.
See you later. Have a great weekend.
You too. You too.
Okay, everything is done on the agenda. We talked about nothing for next week. As far as I know, is there a motion to adjourn?
I got one other thing though that I forgot.
Oh, that's
I
right.
did have a meeting with the Iowa County Radio Governance Board. They have what's called the school BDAs, which Adam kind of touched on, learning things on these exercises. The BDAs are basically, I think, a directional antenna that's inside these buildings because your radio doesn't work in there. So they put BDAs in each parts of the building that'll go to the central thing in the building and send the signal out so the radios work. Well, they put them in the schools. Well, then when the schools remodel, they have to do some testing again. And it ends up, they have to install more equipment because the remodel, the radios don't work here or there in the school. So, and there's some of them are anywhere at great expense from 1,600 to 20,000, depending on how you set it up. Well, and then another thing in the conversation is, what do you do with private entities that have buildings like this? And who's the expense? You know, if you were to put it, just for instance, into a manufacturing plant we have in this. The manufacturing plant wants them in there because they want their people to be safe and be able for law enforcement, EMS, first responders to be able to report what's going on inside the building. And then obviously, we as an entity, we want them in there because it's for the safety of our officers and our EMS people. So that's some things that might be coming down the road to improve these, to make sure we definitely have them in school, and then discussing what the cost is between the private and the public. We don't have to have that discussion now, but I'm just throwing that out there. That's going to be coming down. And also coming down is obviously the radio replacements, what we talked a little bit about. And I think eventually when this contract and we get a handle on this, before we just start discussing budgets, the chairman, which is the sheriff, and then Josh will come in and talk with us and give us a heads up as to what's coming down the road. But I think kind of the indication is looking at trying to pay off the existing bond issue as quick as we can. Because we're gonna be replacing equipment that's on this bond issue that's not gonna be equipment anymore, and it's still being paid for on the bond issue, from what I understand. So that's, just to give you a head up, that's what was discussed, and I think the big thing is to get the chairman and Josh here to explain what it is, where it is, the money's coming from, where we need to get the money from, and what we need to do, so. So that was just,
Feel like those, I call them our repeater system inside the building. They found out when they did those, drills in North English, there was dead spaces.
right, and so it's like sometimes just to tweak that up, it's not as much money, but if you go into a whole school and put a whole system in, you're talking, could be up to $20,000 to put that system in. Well, now you're looking at, we got 2 schools now that are, one's got a bond issue, and one's trying to get a bond issue. That's gonna completely change the structures of these buildings, and it's gonna be an expense down the road, and I just wanted to get that out so we know it's coming, and hopefully, again, Rob and Josh get us better educated on what we need, what we can afford, and where we're gonna fund it from. So,
Okay. Anything else from anybody?
Motion adjourned.
Second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. You're gone next week or next month?
I'm here next week. I'll be gone,